Welcome to Define Your Path with DocV, bringing you real talk with global thought leaders to inspire hearts and minds for sustainable breakthroughs and profitability for your life and business. Here's your host, DocV.
Hi, I'm Dr. Virginia LeBlanc, also known as DocV, the Pivot Maestro. Welcome to the Define Your Path podcast for those seeking to define their own path into purposed entrepreneurship. This is a show about transforming perspectives as well as inspiring and motivating you to think without a box by exposing you to global thought leaders, change agents, and legacy builders across industries on how they successfully define their path in life and business, their profitability and sustainable wins. At Defining Paths, we operate in truth, transparency, and love to help you navigate the waters of your life and put you back in business. And Define Your Path podcast is no different. It all starts in the mind. Will you be the captain or the crew is the question. Today's spotlight is with a very, very dear friend who I adore, who I have personally done work with. So I know she is going to be an inspiration. You're going to have all kinds of ahas and diamonds drop. So pick them up. Karen Abrams is my guest today, folks. Karen Abrams is a UCLA educated entrepreneur, master Theta Healer, gifted intuitive, and international bestselling author. For 20 years, she has helped entrepreneurs and professionals release self-sabotaging habits and gain confidence, financial security, and personal fulfillment. Karen works with clients worldwide to transform their subconscious beliefs and break free from trapped emotions, traumas, and limiting mindsets to build the financial and personal success they desire and deserve. She is known for integrating her energetic work with practical tools to bring about powerful results, folks. Karen's keen sense of humor, insight, and healing abilities have made her a rising star on radio, podcasts, and the international telesummit circuit in the human potential movement. Folks, let's welcome my dear friend Karen to the show. Karen, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, sis.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. And I was just waiting all day.
Yes.
Like, when is it coming? When is it coming? You should do this earlier so that I can be excited, we're in the morning and just jump in.
Yes,
but
you don't know it.
So one big waiting room the whole day, like, going, I love this. When is it coming? When do I get to speak to her and play?
Well, I tell you what, we are going to play. We're going to have a great time. And we just look forward to hearing your story and how you faced your fears to love the skin you're in and pivot into pursuing your passion and soul purpose, which is very, very unique. In our podcast, we love to keep it simple. So here are the two questions I mentioned in our pre-show. How have you defined your path? And how do you help others define theirs? And then we'll just flow between the two, sis. So the spotlight is yours.
Thank you. I really do feel like I need some sort of dance or something when you say the spotlight. I've been listening to all of your shows and they're so wonderful. And every time I see that, I feel like should be spinning plates or dancing or doing something.
I know, right?
I know. So
I dance.
I know. The seat dances, they're always good. Well, I've been thinking about this for a while, and this is what I came up with. There's one quote that I always come back to that I've known for about 30 years almost, and by a wonderful mentor, Dr. Jim Samuels, who said, how you react will determine your existence.
Mm.
And I have leaned on that so many times and gleaned from it so much of my own personal responsibility for where I was and where I am right now. So there was this moment in my late 20s where I was sitting on a mattress in my living room
Mm-hmm.
because that was my couch. I was too broke to buy furniture. And I just remember something struck me and I started laughing and I thought to myself, well, maybe I have money issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it just brought me back to when I was 3 years old and my parents got divorced.
Mm.
And they constantly fought in and out of court about money. My mom kept saying, my dad has the money, but he's not paying. And my dad said, I don't have the money, and that's why I'm not paying. And even though I know the story now, back then I was so young, I didn't really know what was going on. And so all of us kids, there were 4 of us, felt like we were in the midst of, we're crouching down behind the this very angry and violent tennis match by the net, just watching these 2 people go at it. And unfortunately, at that point in time, since this was, the end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, people didn't really know that their kids were in the middle. We didn't have that awareness. And so my experience and my siblings' experience was, part of the fodder of later wisdom, and it's said that you develop your beliefs about money, fully develop them by 7 years old.
Wow.
And so by 7 years old, I believed that money was elusive, that that there would never be enough. And I also associated it with conflict and pain and discomfort. And so and then there was this other element that was going on in my family culture, which was that money is a secret. It's not something you talk about. Nobody talks about money, right? And so my grandparents were wealthy, but we can't find out how that happened or what they did to get that way. And anybody else, you went into their beautiful house and you can't find out about, right? Can't ask any questions. So I don't know how we were supposed to find out. And being a female, I think there was always that tacit understanding that I would find a husband and I just have to find somebody, obviously, that I loved. They're all for love, but somebody who could pay for me, who could support me. And as we know, as time went on, that wasn't really something that could happen anymore. Everyone needs 2 incomes in the family to get by, just to get by. So that all was going on. And so I became very money avoidant. I didn't want to talk about money because it just made me feel yucky. And, I don't know how to put it. That's like the kid word. I just felt just very uncomfortable talking about it. So that by the time I was in my early 20s and it was my turn to jump off into financial independence, I was really excited about it. I really was. I was ready and going. But the problem is that I had all of that running in my subconscious mind, and I had no idea it was. I just thought I was really generous. I didn't think I had any money. I didn't even know what a money issue was, really. And so what happened was I became so avoidant about money and with money that I was spending. First of all, I decided, well, I'm in my 20s. It's okay. I'm kind of finding my way. So I'm just going to make enough money to get by, right? So that's one way to kind of keep it at arm's length. And so I did that, but then I wasn't noticing that I was spending more than I was making because I was avoidant of it. So I was putting on my credit cards and then bouncing those. Remember when you could get those checks that say, hey, you could take all your debt and put it on our card. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, that's a great way to pay your monthly bills. I had a friend who taught me that and it was like, this is awesome. You got to try it. I'm like, So I did. And so what happened was by the time I was 30 years old, I was $20,000 in debt with cards that were at 20 and 21%, right? Interest rate. So I was paying, and this was a long time ago. So this was like 25 years ago, paying $1,000 a month. And I wasn't even hitting the principal at all. And so I was just sinking money into this thing. And also, here's the other part. Because of this programming, I did have some money over here in an account that when you talk to debt people, debt professionals, they'll say, if you can just get a chunk of it out, then you can start really getting. I could have taken a chunk out and then started going down because I was probably getting 4%, back then, maybe 3 or 4% on my savings account. And it was paying 21%. Wow. But for me, in my little screwy brain, I was looking and going, oh, look, there's that money there. I'm safe. That money's in my account. I'm in good shape. So everything's fine. So I was just kidding myself completely. And so it took me years and about $40,000 to repay it. But then here's the other thing. That programming was still going on, that was still there. I mean, I did hit a wall and I did do something about the wall and took responsibility for it. And this other thing was going on. I couldn't get past this thing, this ceiling. I had this income ceiling, and I just couldn't push past it. And it wasn't until I found this technique called Theta Healing that I was able to dig deep, very gently into my subconscious mind and find these programs and find these perspectives that were steering me right into the wall again, and change them and heal all that trauma that I had experienced as a child. And after that, I never went into debt again. And fairly quickly, I doubled my income, and things have just, gotten better from there. It's been a wild trip. I'll tell you that much.
Life is a wild trip.
Continues to be.
So when you started off saying the quote about how we, what was it? How we react is how we exist in life, or was it flipped around?
It's how you react will determine your existence.
How we react will determine our existence. So I guess my question is, what drew you? Did you seek out Theta Healing? Did it just kind of pop up when you started, was it one of those law of attraction things? You finally had that revelation and then it was kind of there, or how did you get on that path?
It's a very good question. I remember it was a friend of mine. We were in this intuitive class where, it was just like a women's support group, but we were doing a lot of stuff in intuition training. Mm-hmm. And one of my friends, first the teacher found this woman named Bianna Steibel, who was the founder of Theta Healing. And we all booked a session with her. It took me a year to get a half an hour with her. And when I had it, it was okay. And I thought, that's kind of neat, but it wasn't really explained or anything. So I didn't really know what really happened. I thought I was going to a psychic and I was very excited. It was a little different. And so then a friend of mine started working with her very closely and changed her life in a very, what I call a short period of time, considering everything that was going on. So she was somebody who had an MBA. She was brilliant, but all of her friends were making $400,000 a year, and she was not. She was burning her bridges all over the place with her clients. Her health was she had very serious problems that doctors were not able to help her with. She was in a relationship that, although it was a sweet relationship, was going nowhere and not where she wanted it to go. And so I watched her over this time period improve her health, transform this relationship into this really loving friendship that it really was meant to be at that point. And so no drama there, and which is amazing. And then after that, she started making money, and it was like, ooh, and that's, right around that time when I was going through all these money struggles. And I'm like, that's really interesting. Now it's coming into the real world in a different way. And so I signed up for a class she was hosting. Bianna came out, and the class blew me away. It was wonderful just to watch her work like this. And I had always wanted to become a therapist, but I didn't, because my mom was a very good trainer in teaching me how to be an energetic sponge. So whatever people said, I took on as my own problems. And I just didn't want that in my life like that. And so what happened was, this had a process. Theta Healing had a process where you can go into somebody's energy and then come back out. So no matter what they told you about, then it was okay, because I could come out and understand that was their story, not mine, and not take that on in any way, shape, or form. And so that's how I got into it. I went through this 3-day beginning Theta Healing class. And when I got out of it, something amazing happened. I was breathing easy, and I didn't know what that was. I'm like, what? And so what happened was, the backstory was that I had anxiety for 6 years, which meant that every day I woke up every morning terrified, like stunned. Just the moment I woke up, it was just like, boom. And I was shaking all day long. And I've been going to a therapist for about a year and a half at this point in time. But we'd gotten it down from an 11 to a 3, which was fantastic. But that 3 meant that I was still waking up terrified every single day and shaking all day long. And so this wasn't even on my radar for this class at all. And all of a sudden, when I'm breathing easy and I felt like there was this space in front of me that I had never felt before or hadn't in all that time, I realized the anxiety was gone. And it was the first time in 6 years that my body was out of fight or flight.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
I just flipped out, right? I totally flipped out and just started signing up for classes. I couldn't even explain what happened to me at all. Who knew? I mean, it was this weird thing that I tried, and she spoke to people and things happened, and here I was. And so that's how it started. And that's how it went.
So fascinating. So, I think most of us exist in fight or flight, in that survival mode, whether we realize it or not. And most people never ever really become conscious of that, and so therefore can't even try to do anything about it to live a healthier, more productive, stress-free, peaceful life.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk a little bit more. Let's jump onto this question because, girl, we could just talk all day. And I mean, it's so fascinating. And had I not experienced it for myself, and just kind of delved into the energetic world and just have that understanding, the spiritual connection, the soul connection, I might not have been a believer, or I might have doubted, for anyone who might be offended by the word believer. It's truth, transparency, and love. Okay. So we're having a candid conversation. So I want to talk about how you help others define their paths, and specifically, how do you help them get over that that maybe lack of awareness or first time exposure to energy healing and theta healing?
Well, let me just start with then what theta healing is so that we can have a better understanding here. So theta healing is a simple meditation that connects you to God or source, your inner wisdom, whatever that word is for you, whatever that meaning is there for you. And it connects you to your subconscious mind. And from here, we can discuss together, we can talk together and use intuition also. But what are the bottom beliefs that are holding you back? So I'm nothing, I'm worthless. Nothing ever works for me, right? I was saying money is elusive, right? And there'll never be enough of it. Those kinds of bottom beliefs. And with your permission, you can change them energetically. And then inside your subconscious mind is also all your trapped emotions. So that anger and that resentment, bitterness, trauma, those sorts of things are all there. And it's okay that you have these emotions because they're honest reactions to things that have happened to you. You're a human being. The problem is when they stay there for decades, or you've been inheriting them from other ancestors and taking on all of this stuff from other people, that they become toxic. And that's when they start harming you. And then you start believing, you're in the soup, right? And so you just start believing what you're feeling is reality when it's just what you're feeling. And you don't have to prove that that's the way the world is when it's like that. So people come to me when they feel like they should be further along in their lives than they are right now. So that's like financially, I get a lot of that with people, like I said, who hit income ceilings and can't seem to get past something, or professionally, and they're, you can call it like the upper limit problem, right? So professionally, they can't move up for whatever reason, or in their relationships or their health. And then I help them find through this work and heal the root causes of what's holding them back. And what happens is that when you can change your most damaging beliefs into your most powerful and positive ones, and when you can transform these old toxic emotions into unconditional love and understanding and compassion, what happens is you just start feeling better and lighter, like you've had an experience with it. And because of that, you start making more decisions in support of yourself, and your dynamics and your relationships begin to change. And those barriers to, taking the actions that you need to take on the ground to make a difference in your life, they start coming down. And sometimes they get low enough for you to step over, and sometimes they just go down to the ground and you can just walk through. And then you start doing these two things. And this is what I'm a big proponent of. It's energy and action. Got to have the right energy, but you have to also have the action, because we can't just meditate in a cave and expect everything to be okay. And believe me, I tried. It just didn't work. If it would have worked, I would have told everyone to do it. So that's how it started.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and because I don't want time to get away from us and it just goes so fast. I would like people to have a little bit of taste of it, because you were very helpful for me and to me in my decision to, stop the parallelpreneur journey that I was on, to break free from the workplace. I was in a hostile, discriminatory environment, just dealing with it, going through a lot that affected my health and wellness, that literally physically manifested in my body. And so, and in addition to that, you also helped with some of those limiting beliefs, and just hearing your own personal story. I put 2 and 2 together about some of the beliefs I had concerning money. I did not have a healthy relationship with money at all, and it's a constant struggle. So I'm putting myself on the hot seat now, if you will, so people can kind of maybe see a little bit of what you do. I don't know. Is there some way we can show them or give them an example of how you work with someone by using me or, my situation as a, So let's just take, I don't know, 3, 5, can we do it in 3 or 5 minutes?
Whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. I'll just crack my knuckles here and we'll get ready.
All right.
Okay. So what we do is, and how about this? We'll do this with you but anybody out there who wants this, you can just say yes, and you will receive this energy and information. Basically, I'm just going to come up into your space. I'm going to ask you if it's okay.
Okay, so but before we start, folks, if you're driving, do not do this.
Yeah, don't do it while you're driving, because it has another effect. It just makes you more relaxed, and and you don't want to focus on this. You want to focus on the road. So
okay.
So I'm going to ask you if it's okay to come into your space, and so you'll say yes. And so then I go through and I close my eyes, and then I see that process going on. And then I'll start asking you questions. And this is always per your permission. It's never about anybody else's, I can't do anything to you. You just have to say yes if you want it, and say no if you don't want it. That's all good. Okay. Just different forms of love coming to you. So I will say, would you like a download of a feeling, like what it feels like to trust yourself, or what it feels like to be completely loved? And then I might say, or would you like to know how to and what it feels like to do something, which would be a similar thing? Or would you like source's perspective on this person or this situation? Or would you like to let go of or have God heal the anger you have towards so-and-so? Like, those are all the things that I use. So I'm going to come into your space, and let's just see. We'll do a quickie here. See what's going on with you. And is there anything that you want to work on in these few minutes that you think would be of benefit both to you and all of your wonderful people in your community?
I think just complete financial freedom, to walk in my soul purpose, and to, just manifest that soul purpose, to serve those who need to be served, to meet them where they need to be met. So I think with that, there's still healing that needs to happen from past traumas, that I openly, freely talk about. And one of those is, just, I guess, that financial piece, or for even relegating myself to that less than role, when I know my worth, or I know that I'm more than. I talk about that a lot. So just kind of in that vein, in this new path that I'm on, living inspired, defining my path. We just had this book come out, Inspired Living, this multi-author anthology. So so practicing what I preach and living it consistently.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So congratulations, you're human, right? And you think of, so one of the things that's coming up, and I bet this is true of your audience also, is that they're more comfortable giving than receiving.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's a beautiful way to control a relationship, because if you can just keep giving to somebody, it's loving, it's very, very loving, and it keeps you from being vulnerable, right?
Yes.
And so here we go. Let me just look at this for a second. And so the law of reciprocity says that it's giving and receiving. We want to bring those to here. So if your giving is way up here and then your receiving is down here, the universe just reflects that and goes, oh, okay, I guess you just want to give more. Mm-hmm. Okay, just keep giving, honey. We won't let you receive. Okay, sweetheart.
Wow.
And right. So it's just reflecting back. Mm-hmm. It's not saying right or wrong, good or bad. It's just that if we think that that's the way it should be, and then what usually happens is, and I'm guilty of this too. So I'm learning a lot about receiving through all of this, is that the more we allow ourselves to receive, the more we get. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so let me just say this too, for everybody here, the best way that you can improve your relationship with money, since like in my family, it was a secret. So it was just a secret. How do you have a relationship with something that's secret, right? Mm-hmm. Or elusive? And so, and I have a feeling you have that too. So let's just look at the money beliefs here. Mm-hmm. And say that there's money is elusive. It's hard to come by. Everyone else gets it except for me. Everybody passes me by. And we'll make sure this is coming to you in all languages and all levels that Theta Healing works on, so that all the ancestral languages can be translated into that too. So, and then what I was going to say right here, let's just have Source change all those beliefs. Okay. What are some other money beliefs that you have that you would like to change?
That more goes out than comes in. It's hard to retain or build. I'd say that's probably the biggest piece.
Okay. All right,
just being able to control the flow to the positive as opposed to the negative.
Okay. All right. So let's have Source change all those. That more money comes. Right. It comes in one hand, out the other. More. Right. Like you said, more goes out than comes in.
Yeah. I saw and experienced all that by age 5, definitely before age 7.
Yeah.
I did not come from money. We were constantly moving around, staying here, this place, that place. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's always had a negative story with me.
Yeah. Okay. So let's let you know something. And because you're so good with relationships, I can say this, and I'm sure that this community is also, and it opened my eyes when I heard this, that the best way that you can change that relationship with money is treat it like a cherished friend. Or what if your money was your child? What would you do? What would you do for your child? You do anything, right? You find out how they are. You'd make sure that you knew what was going on with them, right? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want to let them down. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't lie to them, right? All those sorts of things. You would support them at every turn. You would make sure that they grow strong, right? Mm-hmm. So all of these things, I bet you know what you need to do when you translate that into money, right? Go visit your bank accounts, find someone or learn how to invest, or find somebody, have a savings, a 6-month savings, like things like that, and to fall back on, and things like that you could translate straight into that. And when you look at it like that, like this is your special person, I bet you could translate that really easily. So God's going to bring that insight into you on how you can translate that relationship into a human relationship, and then translate that back into financial behaviors. And let's also help you with that habit of spending more money than you have. Right now, that's a big habit that's in the collective, right? Credit card companies spend billions of dollars in convincing us that's true. And so we live beyond our means.
Yes.
And so let's have Source teach you what you were meant to learn from that.
Okay.
There we go. There we go. And just have you learn what you're meant to learn from that. And know that you did your best, and that now your best is going to change.
Yes.
And that it's okay to trust yourself completely from Source's perspective, and to trust life and Source completely.
Yes.
And so, and let you know what the unknown is.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, that that fear of the unknown. So, whatever that limiting belief is, Debilitating.
So here's the coolest thing I've ever heard of about the unknown. I went into a theta meditation to find out what it was, because unknown's the unknown, right? And so I got this picture of a ball of clay with my hands on it and God's hands on it.
I love it.
So we get to shape it. And that's what we do with all of this. And one of the things that I want to say here is that it's important to understand that your past doesn't define your present or your future. Right? And that you can heal and change from wherever you are.
Absolutely.
With all that right energy and action for you. And also understanding that even in these few minutes right here, the slightest changes you make are going to eventually bring you to a whole new, beautiful place.
Yes. Karen, thank you, girl. I mean, that was such a divine download. And even in those few minutes, you gave me life. You took me on a journey. I talk all the time about revelation, the journey being for transformation, revelation, reconciliation, renaissance. And you took me even in that short amount of time through those steps where, I hadn't thought about, of course I've heard, in different summits and what have you, about money relationship or being in relationship with money. But what the example that you just gave, that simple example, and how to flip it and how to bring it back. Absolutely brilliant, girl. I love what you do. I thank you for just holding space for me, for the world, and just because I know this work is draining, and you truly have a gift for it. And I just want to thank you for being our spotlight today, sis.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Such an honor to be here. I just hope you know how much I love you too, because it's just really great. You're doing wonderful, amazing work in the world. So I'm just honored to be here.
Absolutely. And I thank you for being a continued and a valued partner in what we do, always saying yes. And I know they're just even, there's so much more work for you to do in the world, and, and definitely greatness continues to follow you. So thank you, sis. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart, from the fullness of my heart, I should say. I'm getting rid of that bottom thing because that's a limit, right? From the fullness of my heart.
Wow, I like that. I've never heard of it. That's great.
Yes. Audience, I want you to be sure to follow Karen on social media. Karen, please tell them the best way to follow you, to find you.
Sure. If you'd like to see if you want to visit me on my website, it's thinktheta.com. So that's THINK, think, and theta, like the theta brainwave, THETA.com. And if you like, I teach classes, and I teach classes on healing your money issues. I teach classes on, healing your inner bully. And then I do private sessions also. And so we can do half an hours, whatever you want. And you can go on there and book a session with me. And then if you want to see me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/thinktheta. It's an easy way. And actually, you know what? If you want to play with me every Tuesday, you can go. It's called Tuesday Tune-Ups. And I am there from 9:30 a.m. For about 10 or 15 minutes, depends on the day. And that's Pacific time. And I just go on and do a free healing. And anytime during the day, you can just go and access it, and it'll be there all week till the next day. So Tuesday Tune-Ups is a great way if you want to dip your toe in the water and see if this is right for you. It's a great way to do it. And I do just different topics every week, whatever comes up.
Awesome.
It's really fun.
Yeah. So folks, dip your toes in the water. I tell you, and be open. It will help to open you up. And I tell you, there is nothing like healing to get to the other side of freedom. It's a beautiful thing so that you can live inspired. So Karen's full bio, you can connect with her also from our podcast platform for Define Your Path. Be sure to visit our virtual home to see what we're up to at Defining Paths online. It's an awful lot. There is a place for you, and we would love for you to become a part of our DP family. I'm DocV, the Pivot Maestro, and always your corner woman. Be true to you, folks, and define your path. We'll see you on our next episode. Thanks for joining. And thank you again, Karen. Love you much, sis.
You're so welcome. Love you too.
You've been listening to Define Your Path with DocV. To learn how to see with true vision and define your path, visit definingpaths.online/true-vision.